Good afternoon. I'm Jack Shaw, resident of Kimball County in western Nebraska. We're here in our fraternal hall that we've turned into a little museum. Some of this history goes clear back into the 1800s, 1850s. This specific building was built 120 years ago, so it's not the best of shape, but we try to maintain it. A lot of artifacts that have been found in here have been found in this area from the local residents that had inhabited this community 150 years ago. This building, specific building, is very unique. That we have an upstairs also that has some viewing up there, but the foundation on this building is big, huge limestone rocks, not cement. Very unique when they used to build these things. There's about 10 or 12 of these houses and buildings in Kimball that are built basically the same way. All plaster and lath. But the biggest share of this is, and they used to use this for anything, dinners, social gatherings, it's a fraternal organizations upstairs. Different organizations have been in here for a long time.
Yes. Well, there's a lot of seating in here now, like perhaps were there vaudeville shows or something of that
They used
type
to.
that used to be held in here?
A lot of plays have been put on here down through the last 100 and some odd years, and this is where everybody used to gather for dinners and funerals and stuff like that down through here.
So it's kind of like a community hall in many
It was a
respects.
gathering place for the
Yeah.
community.
Weren't there a number of community organizations like Kiwanis?
There
Not
are.
necessarily those particular
Yeah.
groups,
And-
but you know what I mean, Lions Club, Kiwanis, all that.
Yeah.
They all kind of combined resources
They
to
did,
build this.
and
didn't
the
they?
biggest share of all that artifact is in the second story up there
Okay.
on display today.
All right. Yeah, I think I did see some chairs up there and a few items that look like they
Yes.
might have been official
Yeah.
tokens of the regalia that some of those
Regalia,
groups
yeah,
would have
and
used,
they're-
including the Bible.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. The model will scare you to death. Yeah. These cases that everything is in now is the University of Nebraska donated these cases to us years and years ago.
Oh, wow.
So that's where all these cases came from. This building was heated by potbelly stoves, one in each corner. You can still see the old chimneys where the potbelly stoves went.
Yeah.
But they had a lot of big dinners in here, and I think it was used almost every week for something, because there were 3 or 4 or 5 different fraternal organizations that met upstairs.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, there's many old theaters in smaller towns where the community has gotten together and pooled
Very much
some
so.
money together and fixed them back up again.
Very much so.
And they're now being used
They are.
pretty often, you know, for community gatherings, just like they were in the past.
Yeah. This curtain up here is designed for some of the old businesses that were originally here in Kimball. Sad to say that there aren't any of them still around anymore.
Oh, I see.
A lot of those people I knew when I grew up here in the 40s, they still had businesses downtown. And that's where everybody used to meet, usually on Saturdays. Everybody,
Okay.
all us farmers come to town to buy their groceries and everything on Saturdays, and you couldn't find a parking place in town.
Okay. Well, I might have to explain too to the viewers. This is actually a stage area,
Yes,
a slightly raised stage. So this forms a curtain
that is the curtain.
that would have been raised before whatever takes place on stage
And it's
would happen.
very, very old mechanics. It's rope and pulleys, and you pull it up, and it rolls up by itself up to the ceiling up there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And this ceiling is very unique the way it's built. I remember somebody telling me that this is only one of this structure like this left in this part of the country.
Wow. That's incredible.
The gas lines are still here where all the gas lights We're up there by
running right beside the electric lights.
tin
there.
ceiling.
Yes, that pressed tin ceiling. Now you told me a little bit earlier that you have somewhat of a personal connection to one of the businesses that is mentioned on this curtain.
Well, I used to, when I was a kid, like Gus Lynn Hardware was just down the street, and I can remember going in there where they had the ladders on the walls. You could get on the ladder and scoot down and pick up your stuff out of the big cupboards and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was in the 50s, I remember them. And down the street next door was a big car dealership where our hardware store is.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's
Okay.
been almost 80 years ago that
Okay.
that took place.
And you mentioned an artifact that come from the hardware store that I am going to make everyone wait until the very end of this video to reveal what that secret is.
You probably have to remember me.
Okay.
Remind me.
All right.
This case over here is, we're right on Old Highway 30 and was originally Lincoln.
Yeah, the Lincoln Highway. Yeah.
And you can still find bits and parts of Lincoln Highway along the railroad tracks.
Oh, wow.
To this day.
Wow.
The culverts and some of the bridges and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, me and my nephew, we actually went out and walked part of the railroad tracks
Probably.
outside of town
Yeah.
because this was the very first transcontinental
It
railroad
was.
across
It
the
was.
United States of America.
Yeah.
And I was looking for historical artifacts like gold railroad spikes,
Yeah.
you know.
And if you'll look at some of the underpasses on the railroad, they're stamped 1913 when they were built.
Okay.
And that was years after the first.
Oh, okay.
And then when the railroads first came through here, they owned about every
Every other
section of
section.
ground, north and south
Yeah.
of Old Highway 30
Right,
and Lincoln
right.
Highway. Matter of fact, I just looked at a map this morning, and I pinpointed where all the UP sections were, and there were hundreds and hundreds. And
Yeah.
they were one of the largest.
That's what
land-
helped finance the construction of the railroad.
Yep.
So the railroads could sell off some of those properties
Yeah.
and make a
Yeah.
profit to pay for the railroad.
We had a farm out west of Bushnell, just 10 miles west of here, that one of our sections of ground was Union Pacific Railroad to this
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Had all the mineral rights on it.
Wow. Interesting. And we have some old pianos over here. Boy, that backlighting is terrible.
Pianos and
People can't
organs.
even see those.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, piano.
these
And
came out-
yeah, this is a pump organ here, isn't it? We got the pedals down there, pumping up the bellows.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
This came from a local family that lived here in town
Oh, okay.
years and years ago.
I'll see. They're getting a lot of reflection off the glass there.
Oh, I'll
I don't
bet.
think anybody's gonna, there we go.
Get her?
That's fairly decent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if I don't get practice beforehand, people are used to me doing a lot of adjustments. All right, are we about to close down?
Oh, I'm leaving, he's staying.
Oh, okay, you're leaving.
Yeah, I gotta
Okay,
keep- I
we're
gotta-
going to quickly cover some of these other things here, and then I'll make a quick run upstairs. The museum only has limited hours now. 3 days a week, and
Yeah. About a couple hours a day.
Yeah.
All volunteer work.
okay. And this is right in the downtown area, and there is a very popular watering hole just right across the street to the north of us here.
Yes.
I'm going to wind up there pretty soon myself.
There used to be one on the corner where the vacant lot was. It was a stone building, and it was our corner pool hall and bar.
I see.
And it caught fire a few years ago and burnt clear to the ground.
Oh, my.
And it was one of the first, we got the cornerstone. We have a kind of another mini museum up at the old high school that I graduated from.
Oh, okay.
And we've got the cornerstone from that. And that was
Oh.
I'd tell a lie if I told you. Anyhow, it's about 100 years old.
Oh, okay.
When it
Yeah.
originally built.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, folks, we didn't go into depth on a lot of the displays and artifacts that are in here. But you can tell there are an awful lot of items that are indeed unique to the history of this area, and Kimball
Nebraska.
itself. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And there's all kinds of informational material. I sure wish you guys would just come and take a visit. And where were those arrowheads? Were they over
Right
here
there.
on this side? Yes. And I know a lot of museums, they have a lot of natural history stuff where you're not going to be looking at a whole lot of fossils. But early in the first part of the 20th century, there were people who discovered many amazing things that were made by our first Americans who lived in these areas. Almost going back to the Stone Age, so to speak.
And you can still find arrowheads in this part of the country after.
Well, let's not give that secret out.
Every once in a while, somebody finds a really nice one.
Well,
Yeah.
they need to come to Kimball and find a guide, a hunting guide, a responsible one.
Yeah, I've been around a while.
Okay. All right, very good. Now, were these chairs, they have FELC that are stamped or painted on the back of them.
And I can't tell you what it means. Fraternal something.
Okay.
Yeah, I cannot tell you.
All right. Okay. Well, I thank you very much
You bet, my
for
pleasure.
sharing a little bit of your heritage and the community heritage that could be found here in the museum. And I'll go ahead and take a quick run upstairs, and right after that's over, and I'll be a little bit more quick, folks, and we have been downstairs and on that, but I'll come back downstairs and we'll see that artifact that I mentioned earlier. Well, if you want to join in on this up here, and
Follow you. Here's this. This is that Kimball County map that I was telling you about with all the, where all the sections were on, where everybody owned. Way back
yeah,
when.
well, it's kind of hard to tell
Yeah.
any detail from that, but
And this is old. This is before Interstate 80 was built, so this is old Highway 30 going through
Okay.
town.
all right.
And this is Lodgepole Creek that comes into the dam. This is the longest creek in the world.
Wow.
Comes clear out of Wyoming, clear down into the South Platte, down past
Okay.
Lodgepole Chapel, way
Okay.
down there another 100 miles or so.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's pretty well dry right now.
Well,
for
what distinguishes a creek, or some people might say creek, from a river?
Well, a creek is usually one that you can jump across.
Okay.
That's the way we kind of
And not necessarily carrying water full time.
And sometimes they dry up in dry country, just like it is now. Dry.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah. We have Pumpkin Creek
tell
up
you the truth, a lot of rivers do that too.
Yeah, Pumpkin Creek north of here, up in Barron County, Harrisburg, it's about this wide in places,
Okay.
and it's kind of dried up this year on account of our drought around here.
Okay, yeah.
And a lot of them have dried up because we have so many water wells, irrigation wells anymore in this country.
Pivot sprinkling.
Yeah, they put a mandate on it where you cannot drill another irrigation well in the state of Nebraska.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think Wyoming and Colorado have done the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah. We live in
I've seen some brave dryland farmers coming up this direction.
We have the largest aquifer in the world.
Well, the Ogallala extends up in
Ogallala
this area.
aquifers.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We
Huge.
have some of it down in West
Kansas.
Texas, actually.
Yep, that's the way it goes, go
Yeah,
down in there.
yeah.
And you get north of us, about another 60, 70, 80 miles up around Alliance up in there, there's so much water in them sand hills, some of the best fishing and hunting
Right,
in the world,
right.
and it's just water every place.
Well, I was told early on, and been told a number of times since, Nebraska has more of that Ogallala aquifer water
Any
than
place else.
any other place.
It is, yeah, we're very lucky.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, all right, well, I'll go ahead and take a quick run in through here.
Here's something.
Now, here is some improvements that are being made here As you can tell, there's new style lighting in here, no more gas lighting, as we saw downstairs where there was a remnant of that gas pipe. So the folks, the Historical Society is in charge of keeping this place
Yes.
fixed up.
Yeah.
There are some very serious expenses that need to be spent on the building, as I learned a little bit earlier. On the back side of the building, there's a problem with the foundation sinking back there, and that's going to be very expensive to tackle.
Yeah. These chairs that you mentioned a while ago, this is the,
Oh, yes.
where all
Yes.
fraternal organizations used to meet.
There we
There's
go.
flags on the walls.
Yes, I did mention that.
Who started them and what they were all about. Yeah.
And there's a, is that actually a sword or a
Yes.
rapier?
Yes. There's a couple more on the wall over
And
there.
there's
Or
some,
their rituals that they did.
some banging mallets over there for starting meetings and ending arguments.
Yeah.
And here are some of the, I think that is a linotype. I can't remember the style of printing that is. Lithograph, I guess. Lithograph.
Light around here someplace. Wrong.
Spinning wheel. But I also found out when I was up here a little bit earlier, I don't know about on the other side of the room over there, there are similar displays, but photographs were just recently discovered. They were kept in a dark place.
Yep.
And I advised to the fellow who works for the newspaper that really these should be scanned as they are in color, so it picks up all these little corner
yeah.
tabs here, and then the yellow around there, with a color scanner, and then printed in original size,
Yeah, I found
at
these all
least,
in,
so that these can still be kept in the dark.
yeah. I found these in a back room just stacked up. I
Oh,
don't
you
know how-
found them?
Yes, I don't know how
Wow.
long they've been around. I just
Wow.
put these up just the other
Wow.
day. Some of these are dated back to earlier 1900s, 1902 or
Yes,
1904.
yes. And there's names on a lot of those.
All
and
documented.
There is a heck of a lot of genealogical research that could be done there, as well as looking at some of the structures which are no longer around. But you might actually find through microfiche of the newspapers, which are available at the library. Now, here's a lot of photographs on display, and you
These
can
are
tell
some of
that
the
there are
Prominent.
categorized.
Yeah, some-
Well, on that panel.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is each panel is like a different category
Yes,
of
different family.
images. Yes, once again, packing up some of that reflective deal. I'm just going to kind of run through here, and as you can tell,
This house is
that there
still
are a number
standing.
of these panels
This house is still standing
Yes.
here on the
south
side
end of town, because this is facing north here.
Yes.
I saw that house earlier, and I asked my nephew, who hasn't been here all that long, if he knew anything about the history of it. I suspected it was an early farming or ranching.
Yeah, Bogart's, it was a Bogart residence that had the
Okay.
grocery store and all that.
Oh, okay, so he's a businessman
Yeah,
rather
this
than
was his
agriculture man.
grocery store.
Okay. Wow. Well, once again, getting all that. Well, the panel's moving.
You want the lights on?
Yeah, if you, well, just hold it there and just hold this. There we go. And I can get away from that. Try to anyway. Once again, creative editing comes in.
And then this is McGinnis. This McGinnis family, this building is the building down at the end of the block.
Oh,
They're
okay.
the ones that made flumes coming out of our dam, and they shipped these all over the world for irrigation.
Wow.
And we still have some of them that are still standing out west of town.
Wow. Excellent. Okay, we're not going to give away the whole show. We would really, for people to, if you're interested in history, from, you know, the beginning of the 20th century, end of the 19th century, this is what's happening. We had a transcontinental railroad come through here. Before that, it was called the Oregon Trail, and now there's Interstate 80, and just recently the community has gotten word that there's going to be some really big things happening in this area, and we're going to have another boom cycle in Kimball, Nebraska, and the Nebraska Panhandle.
And the prairie, wide open places.
Yes, sir.
And we're not flat, we're hilly.
Exactly. And they're not sand hills.
Sand hills are north of us.
Yes.
About 100 miles.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
I did not show any of these rooms here. Kind of a parlor situation. And all of these clothing and artifacts are from Kimball or the county. And then over here, we have a little display. Looks like it could be a child's room. But much of this stuff is being redone. There's always improvements going on.
This is the modern bathroom. The way you flush that and get the water, you sit down on this stool.
Oh, wow. So it seems like it'd make more sense it would flush when you stand up.
Yeah, when you sit on it.
Okay. So somebody else's business is in there when you sit down? Well, that's kind of like backwards, wouldn't you think?
Interesting.
Interesting. And no sink for washing
Yes,
hand
just
washing.
a little.
Oh, yes, there is. Okay, it's right there in the corner.
Brand new.
Wow, I'll say. All right. Well, thank you very much once again.
You bet.
I would love for people to come and see this with their own eyes. And I would like to see this place open once again for more community entertainment. A lot of small towns, they've been bringing in bands and dinner theaters, one thing and another, to keep their old revived movie theaters alive and earning money for the community.
Yeah, our old theater is just down the street, about 2 or 3 buildings down. And when I was a kid, it was about 11 or 12 cents to go to the movie. And now we've got a new theater just up the street, but it was built in 1953. And now they have some church services in there on Sundays, and they do show movies about every 2 weeks.
I see.
First run movies. Cost you $3 to get in there.
Well, nothing wrong with that.
No.
A lot cheaper than the Cinemax places that are available now.
So.
And when you do come upstairs, don't let these ladies scare you. When you first turn the corner down there, it might startle you for a little bit.
Get your attention.
Yeah, I'm gonna back down the stairs here rather than walking up. See how this works out. Now you turn the corner here, and boom, right there at the top of the stairs, you think somebody's fixing to pounce on you, but it's all right. You'll be safe.
Interesting.
All right, so here's the moment we've all been waiting for, the reveal to the artifact that was downstairs here that would be connected to one of the advertisements on that stage curtain that we were just looking at a little bit earlier.
This was the original cash register at Lynn Hardware when I was a kid in the 40s. You don't see, I can't even work it. It's got so many buttons and shoves and so many doors and drawers.
Yes, sir. Yes,
But I
sir.
remember
Oh,
that when I
this
was a kid.
cabinetry is part of it as well?
Yes, these
Oh.
are different drawers.
Yes.
And then you get, some of these won't open up because it's locked because you got to hit the right button to.
Now, that's something else. I have never seen a cash register with multiple drawers like that. That could be controlled by various keys.
And it's not electric. You got to crank it.
Yes, I presumed that for sure. And did they use rolled paper for receipts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wide.
Isn't that something? Now, I have seen more ornate looking cash registers.
It is.
But I don't think I've seen anything on this order.
Been around for a long time.
And all these drawers and stuff. Wow. Okay, so there we have it. It is the
That's
museum.
one of the original windows that used to go right here where that big picture window is.
Oh, really?
Yes.
They were made into this case.
Yep, that's the original window.
Wow. I'll say. That's incredible. Are these trophies over here?
Yes, from way back when.
I can't tell what some of them were awards for.
That one's 1921. Presented by Kimball County.
That's who's is presented by and all that stuff, who's been presented to, but not what's being presented for.
I don't know.
Kind of like the journalists of today.
Oh,
They don't give you the pertinent information.
permanent cup, won by Kimball County 1921. I don't know what it is.
More research to be done. All right, I think we'll end it here.